Did you ever happen to play the computer game, The Oregon Trail? I love that game when I was a kid. You'd start off gathering your supplies, you're ready for adventure, but before long you're losing oxen and you're getting caught in river crossings. And let's be honest, by the time the game's over, you've lost half your team to dysentery. The life of faith can feel like that sometimes. Psalm 119 begins with the start of the journey, that fresh new adventure full of confidence. He says, "Blessed are those who walk according to your instructions, your Torah. Happy are those who are watching after your warning signs, your testimonies, who are walking according to your ways." He declares, "I'm intent on knowing you. I'm intent on making you known with an upright heart. I'm going to learn to walk according to your right decisions. I'm going to do what you say, Lord." The psalmist declares, "This is the way, this is good, and I'm walking with God, and his path is leading somewhere amazing." Right? There's passion and zeal and joy. And if you're a mature believer, you remember that feeling. You remember what it was like when the Lord first opened your eyes, that moment that everything felt alive. Like you could almost hear his voice in every word of Scripture. You wanted to obey, to follow, to walk in his ways. There was a purity, a freshness, a fire, a childlike faith that made you want to run toward him. You had supplies, and then the journey began. Like the Oregon Trail, what started as an exciting adventure soon became unpredictable. You faced setbacks, rivers that were too deep for you to ford. You began to battle with your own doubt. Maybe you got caught up in the grind of life. You suffered losses. Maybe you got tired, and somewhere along the way, that early fire started to fade. Later in Psalm 119, it speaks to that too. The writer says, "I almost lost my way." He admits he got distracted. He wrestled with questions. But every time he does the same thing, he turns back to what God has said. And that's what we need to do. The writer later says, he says, "If your instructions, your Torah had not been my delight, I would have perished in my affliction." In Psalm 51, David, after walking off the path and suffering the consequences, he cried out, "Lord, restore to me the joy of my salvation." He wasn't just asking for forgiveness. He wanted renewal, to feel that flame again, because that first passion, that first love was the real deal. It wasn't meant to stay in the past. Maturity in your faith doesn't mean losing your zeal. It means walking out in wisdom without losing wonder. It means being steadfast without becoming stale. It means obeying because we want to, not just because we have to. Verse 5 says, "Oh, that my ways were steadfast." That's the heart cry of a believer who has learned that this journey is not about bursts of excitement. It's about steadiness, faithfulness. Verse 8, "I will observe your statutes. Don't abandon me, Lord." It's that recognition that we can never outgrow our dependence on him. So today, ask the Lord to restore your joy to when you first came to him. If you've grown weary, ask him to refresh your spirit. If you've been walking with him for years, ask him to bring back that fire from the beginning, not to replace your maturity, but to fuel it. Don't settle for a faith that survives. Ask for one that thrives.